got myself cozy, and Mr. Producer, do I have everything situated? Do you think I should just go back and do like a second thing about what I did before? They liked that last one. You think I should? I think you're right. We did a really, really good one about the whole thing with Will and Jada, but I think the GenX thing is starting to pick up a little bit. Guys, let's just throw the intro. Let's get right into it, okay? What's going on, everybody? And as always, we always try to do a little something. I always try to adjust myself and fix myself up here on this channel, and exploiting some pretty much life expressions and all sorts of wonderful concepts that we do here, whether it's hockey related, sports related, life related. Always try to do a lot of different certain things here on this channel, and it's always good to have you here. You like a lot of this stuff? By all means, hit that like and subscribe button, and you can see more stuff on the channel down the road. Guys, I don't know really necessarily how to throw this at you, because I'm bummed out because it's now fall. Hockey season's in full swing, but we're not over this whole entire thing. We're never going to be over this entire thing with the GenX, millennials, GenX, millennial, Gen Z type of crap. Because quite honestly, I went off on a channel, I went off on an actual kind of rant with the Will and Jada crap. And I got a lot of views on that, and I appreciate you on all that. But good Lord, if I wish I had a $9,000 setup, I could just point every single godforsaken thing that we had that was so much awesome than, the Gen Z millennials having cell phones. We would kill for a BlackBerry. We would kill for a flip phone. We would kill for the old school type of Nokias and BlackBerries and Razors and all that stuff. And we did anything we could to try to get any sort of information we really could, because all those people that I said on a previous episode, well, they're not wrong. If you literally needed to go find something and find some sort of info, you had to ask people. If you weren't near a library in an old school Dewey Decimal System, and yes, that was and still is an effective in case you don't have a phone on you, that's how you had to find info. Encyclopedia Britannica is somehow how you had to find some sort of stuff. Now, the world has evolved, and even to a point, Gen Z millennials are pissed off at us to the point that we now use their technology. I'm sorry, Wikipedia's around. And although we are older than Google, we do look for Google. And we check that on our phones every single time that we have to find any information. I mean, the kids in school, they're not allowed to use their phones. They could use their phones for everything, but it doesn't technically make a difference, because math has changed. They're trying to find everything. I'm sorry, our way of math was the best, and probably it's not going to get replicated. But there are mathematicians that are 25 years old that will say this is the better way to do it. I'm sorry, if I recall correctly, when we had a math test, we had all our problems on the left side. The whole entire right side was mostly nothing but empty space. That's what you used to do your math. You didn't have your calculator. You weren't allowed to have one. You did all your stuff on the right side. And in some places it wasn't what's a good way to put it? If your sheet, you could have 100% on your math test, but if your sheet was a complete train wreck on the right side, you'd get docked points. I'm sorry, that has happened. So, in essence, Wikipedia's been around, Google's been around, and we use it. Sorry, Gen Z, we're loud. Sue us. So, we can look at every single godforsaken thing you can possibly think of that we take advantage of, because we are also in evolution. We're allowed to continue life doing what we do, how we used to do it, and you can go on and do the way of the world you know how to with what you have, and you can be better at us about it. But if we're actually better than you then you have a conniption. And that just brings me to a lot of the knick-knack points that I remember, and I can relate to this with some of my old school classmates. You don't know how to. Nobody knows how to do cursive writing anymore. I can relate. I'm one of the. I have one of the. I am. My handwriting is one of the worst, and you guys don't necessarily like doing cursive writing. You guys now have mental health days, trigger warnings, and all sorts of stuff. And I kind of have to somewhat laugh about this, but at the same time, you know what a mental health day was for us in school? Whether it was, I'll take a small era, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And I'll even go by saying myself, who was picked on in high school. You know what a mental health day was for me? One day, not getting touched, not getting said a word. That was a mental health day. That was a mental health day off, because you knew the very next day I was going to get smashed with a hammer. I was going to get smashed. If I didn't get picked on one day, it was going to be the next. If it wasn't by one person, it was the next person or the person after that. It was almost like it was a line. And if I went through one day without having anything stolen or anything, I consider that pretty much a day off, and I'll take it. I would have took it anything for what it was granted and what it was given. You guys now, and I understand this completely, you guys will take a mental health day if you chip a nail, if your eyes bugging, if you have a bad hair day, if you, I don't know, bumped your hip against the kitchen counter, if your car doesn't turn the right song on when you get in the car in the morning, if one little knick-knack is wrong, you're on your phone and you're calling into work, calling in a sick day, and you call it a mental health day. And that is too funny. It's too funny. And the funny thing is, we, as either Gen X and boomers, will do the same thing and you'll laugh at us. But we just bawl laughing at you when you do it. But I'm not going to sit here and just totally go off, because I've just totally been on this kind of a thinking thing where I kind of think I need to have more talks about the Gen Z, millennials, and all that, because it's really hard. Because we're the ones that can do cursive writing, and you're the ones that still think that it was okay to eat laundry detergent, to do the Tide Pod freaking challenge. And I'd like to say that whoever decided to create the Tide Pod challenge needs a mental home, needs a straitjacket, a mental home, and probably whatever money you made off of that probably needs to go to those people who actually attempted to and had to go to a doctor. I did not know why and who, and probably we still don't know to this day. We could Google it if we want. Who created that challenge? Who thought it was okay to do the Tide Pod challenge? Who thought it was okay to do the hottest chip challenge? And it's still going on. That thing's still going on, and it's still in existence, and people and celebrities still do that. And they try their damnedest to survive. And it picked up hard. It picked up full steam because it was so popularity on TikTok and Instagram and even Facebook Live, and just throw on a page and with all your buddies and say, we're all gonna do it, just let's get a bunch of gallons of milk and we'll survive. One kid, I think he was either 12 or 14 years old, he had no health issues. He did it. He died. He passed away. And since that moment, the maker of that chip took everything off the shelf. I don't know if you have to sign a waiver for it or not. I don't know. But all these little knick-knack little challenges. And even I just saw one recently where you tied a rope around your waist and you had a hot dog and you had to swing your freaking hips so you can catch the hot dog with your mouth. Any Gen X, Gen Z millennial will find something to put on either TikTok or Instagram or something. Literally, it's basically for entertainment purposes only. You're out there to you're out there to get a dollar. And I thought I saw something where if you get 100, 1,000 views or something, you get or get 10,000 views or something, you get 20 cents. I mean, I'm sorry if a 12-year-old does a 10-second dance and gets 100,000 views and he's making bank and he's paid for his college tuition. I can go off on little knickknacks about the Gen Z millennials because they're owning clubs. You can't, us older people, we can't go to clubs anymore. We have to go to find hole-in-the-wall bars or other adult establishments so we can socialize with people our age. We can't just go to a club anymore and think we still have. Me as a former clubber and a former b-boy, I can't do that anymore. I can't just go and see a bunch of and just chill and hang out with my own self and then see a bunch of 21, 22, 23-year-olds just standing looking like, why is he here? You know, well, I can because I'm a free kid at 48, young at heart, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I would like to have something to do, but there's nowhere else to go. And you don't have to talk to me. You don't. I mean, the Gen Z stuff will still have their own cliques. Not as hardcore as what we had back in the day, because cliques, iconic groups, the most popular groups, they still existed. And we knew who we were. Everybody in those big groups knew who they were. And they were out pretty much running and owning every place we went to. We were not worried about trigger warnings or freaking gluten or like I said, finding groups that were trying to make money and daring you to eat laundry detergent. It was this back in the day. Our groups knew who they were. When they said some things, when I saw something, I believe on Kelly Mano's Instagram, one kid said, literally, he said, and I was wondering if it was staged, but I don't know if it was. He asked, so if you guys were drinking water out of the hose, Warden Sink's a thing? And she said the best thing. We weren't allowed in the house. So yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. Social was getting on your bikes, going to the nearest corner, the next street, over the hill, and playing street football, hide and seek, tag, baseball, whatever it was. That was my old school days. Sometimes you had get-togethers to play Nintendo and Sega and Atari television. You had those days. Those days didn't make anything better unless it was maybe 4 or 5 or 6 people at one point. You really wanted to have that. But, yeah, you people with the mental health days, I think we're allowed to have, we all should have them now, but now it's not necessarily a limit. It's just have a good thing, because mental health is now a big, huge thing about the entire world, because mental health is one of the biggest, most strongest pushes in probably in the last maybe like 4 or 5 years. That wasn't even including the pandemic. Mental health was a very strong issue during the pandemic, because there's a lot of people, whether they were vaccinated or not, they still thought that what they were doing was fine, and they still literally thought that nothing was going to happen to them. And then they would brag about it, go about their business. 2 days later, they get COVID. You don't hear from them for a week and a half. And then you find them and they're like, hey, I heard you had COVID. How was it? And they'll still try to be positive and be like, it was nothing. I don't believe it. Whatever. No. I'm alive. It doesn't matter. It's over. It doesn't matter. I'm going to act like it never happened. You know, because that's Gen Z for you. They believe they're going to be untouchable. I can't. Yeah, have a Tide Pod. because we don't care. We're still alive and kicking, and we're doing whatever we have to do to push ourselves. So you can jump on your little selective outrage, like Chris Rock used to call it when he did his thing about Will Smith. Go ahead, put all your little stuff out there, because we're doing our part as far as surviving the world as we see it. We are older than Google. We are the better person. We're completely fine. We had more fun without social media than you guys do have it now. You never realized how much fun we had going to a club, working 9 to 5, working whatever hours during the week, and looking forward to a Friday or Saturday. We busted our butts to get to Friday and Saturday so that we could see people, we could see our friends, we could go on dates, we could go to do different things with friends. We were looking forward to those days. 9 to 5 or whatever schedule you had Monday through Friday. We looked forward every single day, surviving the struggle just to get to that Friday night. When you get done at Friday, regardless of what time you got done, you knew from people you knew, from calling, from maybe some texting here and there. That was back in the day, not a whole heck of a lot. You had to get calls and phone calls from people, maybe even some hearsay to talk about, hey, what are we doing this weekend? Where's everyone going? Are we going to the Y dance? Are we going to the club? Are we going to just go cruising? Are we meeting people at the place, this, etc., whatever? And you enjoyed it. You look forward to a Wednesday night tequila night, and you got to be at work at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, because you absolutely need that TikTok, Instagram spotlight to put it up on the whole entire interweb. And we had our fun. Were there scandals? You're damn right there was. And you know how you took care of those? You took the phone off the hook. What do? You shut your phone off. But you turn your computer on and you get 900 messages, and you wonder where the heck they're coming from, and one little ant fire turns into a freaking volcano, and we laugh because you guys want to have after parties. We went to freaking Denny's. That was our after party when we were clubbing back in the day. Going to local diners at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, because that's sometimes where they make their most money. And we had a ball. You know, we want this. These are life things that we enjoyed when we were younger. And this is a little follow-up from that little thing that we did about Will and Jada, because quite honestly, our clubbing days were different. I'm going to do more about that on another episode, but I'm shutting this down because I'll tell you what, more and more of this stuff that you see on Instagram and TikTok, these people, we go off on the Gen Z millennials. We will continue to do that. We will respect you, but we will not continue. But we were skilled. You know what? What's a good way to put it? We will selectively acknowledge certain things that you guys think is okay, but try doing it in our shoes. And yeah, it's a little bit of a different world. I enjoy being the type of person that I was when I was younger, but at the same time, you know, we always are trying to push ourselves to the next limit. And we know we have our lives to live, but there's always that big Gen Z millennial area that is just basically looking down on us and just waiting for one mistake. I encourage you to keep waiting, because we're not going anywhere. Hit that like and subscribe button if you like to hear more of this talk, because we are going to continue doing more of this talk as well. Life stuff all around, because we all need to stick together to get through this thing called life. Guys, good to hear from you. Good to see you. Good for you guys to hang out. And as always, I hope I see you bloody legends down the road. And until then, I think Bill Cosby said it best when he said, "So I fell back to sleep again."